you have to leave him here with me, and he don't have to do nothing I say.
Real.
He don't have to do nothing, not one thing I say. And it wasn't until I understood that you're the same God if you leave him that you are if you take him.
Right.
Like, it wasn't until I understood that I knew that at 12 I had to mature in our relationship. If I would have been saved at right before EJ got shot, I may have backslid. Like, it'd have been a whole different conversation.
That's real.
Lord. Yeah. But being maturing and like him walking me through some of the like biggest parts of my life helped me understand that God is gonna be God, but God is good.
God is good.
Yeah.
God is good.
Ain't he? Yes.
Wow. And through the midst of all that, because first off, I just want to say that was nobody but his strength within y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people would have just been like, God, you tripping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my father passed.
Yeah.
It seemed like my brother finna pass. Like, and it'd be a lot of times at that moment. But I've seen a lot of people that kind of strayed away from God in moments like that. And why? And I know it's because of your maturity, but why do you think that really didn't stray you away from God when all that was happening to you?
Like you said, maturity and family. We stick together like glue. And if one person can't stand, the other person gonna hold you up. And that's just how it is with our family. We was all gonna be there. We was all gonna have each other. And I think when I got saved at 12, I think God was gonna use me as the shift in our family to shift us our direction into heaven. Because that's all we see now is heaven. And there's no question to us. And I think the way we were able to make it through was each other. We had each other. And God is just so in the midst of our family that it's hard when you questioning God, you can't really question him too much, because my aunt over here listening, my mom like, you not questioning him while I'm praying, like, right. So it was just like, you can't. We don't give each other
trip with one last trip in the spring after my senior year. They weren't there. It was like a showcase in Oklahoma. I remember calling up Shelby. I was like, man, there's one more trip. I was like, man, you mind driving me out there? My mom got some work. She can't take me. Shelby's just been incredible. He's like,
shout out to Shelby though.
Shelby was like, yeah, I'll take you. I'll take you. He's like, I think, yeah, I can make it. And then so he ended up agrees to take me. We leave Hobbs. We're not even 5 minutes out of Hobbs. We're at the state line.
Right.
He gets pulled over, gets a ticket. I'm like, gosh, this trip's already off to a bad start. Yeah. So we're driving to Oklahoma, and my sister's in the car as well too. She's going to play too.
Right.
But so we drive to Oklahoma, man, and I'm just like, whatever. Let's just go all out. And let's just go all out. Let's go play, do your thing, and just see what happens. What do you got to lose? You know what I mean? Nothing. Right. You only got something to gain. So man, end up playing. They were there to watch some kid, Pat Knight from Texas, obviously at Texas Tech at the time. He was there. Bubba Jennings, we had played them earlier that year. He had joined the staff for Texas Tech. And I had 38 points, I think like 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 7 steals, and 5 dunks in that game.
Woo-woo!
And it was the best game I ever had. And then he passed that tape on to Tech. And then I never knew that Pat Knight would be there, but ended up playing well. He passed the word to Coach Knight. He was the new coach at Tech. And, that next week they called and asked if I'd want to come up to just have a visit, just to kind of see Tech and see if I'd be interested in being a walk-on.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course.
Yeah.
It was like a no-brainer. I ran over there.
Yeah,
Literally ran over there. But then I got there, and then I got there at Tech on that visit, and it was like an unofficial visit or whatever. But I got there on that visit, and I'm coming out like, I don't know what's going to happen, but, I'm just going to play hard as I can. Because they were just playing some pickup. So I joined some of the guys playing pickup, just play hard as I can. And Coach Knight comes over me, puts both of his hands. He's a big man. He's like 6'5". And he's like, you're going to play defense for me. Right. And I was like, yes, sir. That's all I said. I'll never forget it. I remember just saying, yes, sir. I'm going to play.
I got shot 5 times, laying on that floor.
Wow.
You know, and I was laying on that floor. When I was thinking, I thought about a lot of things, but the one thing I thought about was my son.
Right.
I'm fit to leave him with nothing. I'm fit to leave him with nothing he can say, hey, my daddy did that for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm fit to leave him with a whole bunch of problems. I'm fit to leave him asking why. Why did he pick to do this instead of pick to be in my life?
Right.
Why he couldn't leave that alone and understand that we needed him. This is what I'm fit to leave my son with, right? Because these are the questions that I had for my dad, but I just never was. I was too blind over my own stuff. I never got to ask him that because if I feel like my dad would have been there, I wouldn't have turned out where I would have turned out, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, but I'm about to leave my son with nothing, or why, I'm about to leave him wondering why. Why did he pick to go to this party than to be at home with me and my mom and try to be here? Why he keep running from the problem and going to get drunk and doing all that? That's what I'm going to leave my son with.
Yeah.
So going through that and going through the hospital and the doctors telling my mama that I wasn't gonna make it and shit like stuff like that. Laying on the bed and seeing the things that I seen. You had to go through that to see that. Cause I can sit here and tell you about some stuff and I ain't gonna say people don't believe it because a lot of people have been there and they've seen it. And I won't say a lot, but a lot of people that've been through something, they've been there and seen it. So being shot and going through what I've been through, being in the hospital for 2 months and not having contact with the world, nobody can come see me.
Before people this, but if it gets anybody to believe in God, dude, so all these things are just festering in my mind while I'm in the line to pull out the money for the bank. And I'm trying to get myself to chill so I don't like cry too hard. You know what I'm saying?
Let it out,
but,
bro.
So mind's racing, my heart's beating, and then it all just goes away, dude. I'm like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, how am I stop? How did I just stop worrying? If you've ever had anxiety or a deep thought in your head, that thing just doesn't turn off.
Right.
And it just said, something in my head just said, my son, be still. Dude.
Wow.
Dog. It's crazy, bro. And
no, I feel you right there, bro.
It just said be still. If my son can go into a forest and not, it's crazy, bro. And if my son can go into the forest and live without sin and live with no worry for 40 days, then you can do it too.
It was just nothing but, the clients I had out there was nothing but like, drug dealers and felons and stuff like that, man. Those type of people I was just hanging around with, just, people in the streets,
Right.
So eventually I kind of like fell into that lifestyle, like selling drugs, stuff like that, hustling and everything, man. I just fell into that stuff because that's what was around me,
Right.
If you just look up Hagerstown, Maryland, man, no opportunities out there, kind of out on your own, So, yeah, man, I got to know a lot of crazy stuff, man. Just, maybe another day I can go into super detail, but right now, just, there were so many times I could have lost my life, man. And now that I look back at it, God saved me, man. Like,
wow.
I seen people get killed right in front of me, man. And everybody around me went to jail. I lost like handful of people to gun violence that I went to school with. You know what I'm saying? And there were so many times that it could have been me, but God saved me. You know what I'm saying?
God
for a
is
reason.
Good. That is a great God, man. And man, It's crazy, man, coming to America, and even though things was a lot different from Sri Lanka, you know, but it still was still a battle. You see what I'm saying?
Still a battle for sure.
It was still a battle, but man, that's crazy, man. That's very.
Which is the ads on TikTok. You know what I mean? And he saw one ad, and it was a company called Affirm.
Right.
And Affirm was doing this $10,000, you know, cash prize giveaway for the best commercial.
Right.
And man, we just looked at, like, he came to me, he told me about it. And he was like, bro, he was like, we got to shoot it. Like, you've been shooting so much, we have to shoot that commercial.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And man, we got to shooting. It was 11 o'clock, almost midnight. And we were both tired, bro. But we knew, like, the last day to enter was like that week.
Yeah.
And I said, fam, we're going to have to stay up all night and do it, bro. And he's like, let's get it. So from midnight, and I'm not lying to you, I have the behind the scenes footage. From midnight all the way to like 6 a.m, bro, we were shooting that commercial. And all that shooting from midnight to like 6 a.m. was for like a 30-second video. So this is around like November, December type, you know what I mean? Man, I got to editing on that computer. We did our thing, and, you know, shout out to my brother, man. Like, I get it.
Let it out, brother.
I get emotional, man. Because that commercial changed my life, bro.
For sure.
Make a long story short, bro. Sorry, man.
No, man, you
make
good.
Make a long story short.
No, you good.
We posted that commercial, and Christmas time came around. Your boy got COVID. I was sick, man. I was sick, like sick. I thought I was gonna die type stuff, bro. Like seriously.
No.
Like I know everyone's like, oh, I thought I was gonna die, bro. And I was so sick, and I remember we were like, you know, doing the social distancing and all that.
Right.
And we were having Christmas at my aunt's house, and we had submitted our video, and we were just waiting. And I remember, bro, if I remember correctly, it was the day before Christmas Eve. And I got an email, bro, and it said, congratulations, you have won the...
It didn't stop my everyday life, but it affected the way I thought. My mind was so clouded. I couldn't look at a woman normally. And people don't realize that when you're battling with it. It's like women are beautiful creatures that God created, and you won't see them as that. You will just see them for their body parts and their butt. You'll see them for what they can give you, and it's very objectifying. And in the moment, like, you won't see nothing wrong with it. It's just like this is what we're supposed to do. Real. And so it's people normalize it so much to the point where it's like, oh, you a man, like, otherwise you gay if you're not. And it's like, nah, bro, it's not even gay. There's a way that you can look at a woman and be like, dang, she's beautiful, and in God's eyes. And that's the way that it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to have any lust attached to it. So that would be a thing for me. It was like, it didn't just stop my day. It wouldn't stop the things, but it did stop productivity. Low key, bro.
Wow.
Really, honestly, it stopped some productivity, because it's like when your mind is so clouded like that. There's been some studies on it, and when you basically watch porn and stuff like that, it can stop your productivity. It clouds your mind, and you just don't feel free. Some people just want to sleep. Some people want to sleep. They just do that, sleep. They don't do anything. You become lazy. So it does stop productivity. It stops like the way you would do stuff. Let's say, like, you want to, like, actually, for example, I've wanted to start a lot of businesses when I was watching porn and had that porn addiction. Everything was a start, but I would never finish anything, bro.
Wow.
Never finish.
Wow.
So that's my take on it.
What about you?
I wouldn't say that. I wasn't in that deep of a stronghold. I just did it because I just wanted to do it at nighttime. So that wasn't something that stopped me.
What about if not that? What about the drugs and stuff like that, the smoking and all that stuff like that?
The drugs, Not really. I was pretty productive with it. I think what really, because I before I got high, I had to clean up my house. I just couldn't get high in a dirty place. That's just it was not good. So I cleaned up, you know. But I would say what really like hindered me in my growth and everything was the fact that, and I ain't really told nobody this really in my family. So besides my husband knows, some of my friends know, my mom knows. But when I was younger, I was touched on by somebody close to me. So I would say that that's something that hindered the view of myself and even how I carried myself with men. Like I would be low key seductive. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I would, think it was my body that, made a man stay. Like even in my relationship that I was in, I would just have sex. I thought that would make him stay. So if anything, you know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing that I will say hindered me in my growth because I was doing things that was out of my character.
They knocked, boom, boom, boom. Nobody said nothing. Then I looked at the window to see if somebody was at the door. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was at the door. So I was like, they on the side, they playing. So I was like, cuz, watch this, I'm finna get them. I opened that door. I pulled out the pellet gun like that. And I was like, where y'all at? Man, before you know it, it was 2 police officers on the side, had guns pointing right at me and said, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. And I yanked my arm back in. I threw the gun on the couch and I was like, what's going on? Cousin was sitting on the couch and stuff like that. They looked at me and said, man, what you do? I'm like, I didn't do nothing. They said, everybody come outside with your hands up. Everybody come outside with your hands up. So we all looking at each other like, oh man. So we all come outside with our hands up, you know? And prior to that, my uncle just had surgery. And we all coming outside. They said, everybody get on the ground. Get on the ground. It was very aggressive. They was very scared for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So they all arrested us on the floor and stuff like that. And as we arrested on the floor, laying on our stomach, we look up, man, I'm telling about literally like 14 cop cars outside. They thought the house was a house full of drugs and stuff like that, full of guns, full of drugs and stuff like that. Even they were just pellet guns, right? And by the grace of God, my cousin, he was a police officer. So he had to tell them, get us up, let us talk it out and stuff like that. And then after everything was over, the cop that had his gun out, that pointed it at me when I pulled the gun outside the crib, he had told my mom and told my parents that he was about to shoot me. He told my mom them that he was finna shoot me, like actually shoot me. And he wasn't even playing, y'all. Like he was actually crying, shedding tears. Like, man, I was gonna shoot him. I was gonna shoot him. But you see, God was there the whole time. By the grace of God, he was there the whole time because he could have shot me. He could have killed me. My life could have been ended right there. And I think I was about, 14 years old? I was about 14 years old, and I'm 21 now. He could have killed me, man. He was actually crying, was shedding tears. And then he went home.
Hated it. They had good bonuses though. But anyway, I ended up just like, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm quitting. So I quit. Right. Went back to the dentist. I think I did. Yeah. Went back to the dentist. And then I started like making birthday cakes for my kids and like family. And, back then, like I would sell a half sheet for like $35. It's crazy.
I mean, what is that?
It's like a half a sheet cake like that. I mean, now you can buy it. I mean, I think the store probably sells it for that, but I mean, I'll sell a half sheet for like $100.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that was really cheap back then. Right. I was just teaching myself, and it was fun. But I would make more money in a weekend than I would make for 2 weeks, where I was working. So I was like, okay. I'm just selling birthday cakes. Yeah. Like I was making, like literally would make my whole paycheck like in a day or two. at home. And so I had told my husband, I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna, this is what I want to do, like, because I'm very artistic, like I like that, and I can use my, my artistic skills for that.
Right.
And so I left that job, and before I left that job, I rented this little place where we're at now.
Yeah.
And I rented it for a whole year without moving in because I was afraid of not being successful.
Oh.
Yeah. And so my husband would be like, you need to move in there. You're just paying rent. It's just like a storage. Like everything was in here. Like the stoves, the fridge, everything. Everything was in here, but I wouldn't work out of it. I still worked out of my house. And one day, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to move in there. Like, I'll move in and see what happens. I was just afraid of, I guess I was afraid of people not accepting me. And now, if I could have told my younger self, which this was in like 2013, because I started making everything that I do in 2008 at home.
Right.
But if I could have told myself back then, like, just do it, I would have.
Right.
Because, not everyone's going to love you, and that's okay.
Right.
But, you have to stumble a few times to succeed, and nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Okay. And I always think, I know that God put it, he just pretty much handed me everything from then until now.
Right.
Let me tell you my story. So I was driving one day, and I passed the street. I was not paying attention, ran into a building, and I looked, and I was like, that's empty. Called the people up, just kind of talking to them about opening my preschool. Mm-hmm. It gave me opportunity, and I was like, let's do it.
Right.
That following day, my husband was playing basketball, fell, and cracked his hip, so he couldn't work. So we were like, we can't open because you're not working. So we went back and we talked to the people, and I said, we just can't, he's not gonna be able to work. So we can't do it. And the guy said, how much money do you have? And I was like, okay. So I quoted him how much I had. He said, we'll do that, and then we'll take payments from you. That's how I opened my preschool.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's how I opened it, because he said, how much money do you have? And I thought, are you crazy? What do you mean? And he said, this is what we need, because he told us what they needed for me to move in. And we're like, okay, well, we're working, we're good. But he let me break it down and pay that out. The kids came. I was open there for a year. It was great, but the people wanted to sell it.
Right.
I went to the bank so I can buy it. Didn't have enough credit.
Right.
Didn't have anything in my name before. My parents did it for me. And then once I got married, he had everything in his name, so I couldn't get anything.
Right.
So I was driving again down, and I just went an extra street up on accident, and God gave it to me again. Wow. Another building. I swear, I was driving, I looked, and I was like, that says for rent. Called up the guy, took about 2 days, called him up, came, and it was a disaster. Mm-hmm. And he said, I'll let you move in for free.
Woo!
All you got to do is fix it up. And I was like, okay, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Moved in, called my family in, my brother, my sister, my dad. We painted, and we opened up.
Wow.
And it's been, so after that, preschool, I'm a 5-star program now. And here I am just going down the street again. I used to go buy my wigs and beauty supplies from one of my friends, and she moved away.
Right.
And I had to travel to go get it. And I told my husband one day, well, I think I'm going to do that. Never been in retail, never knew about buying wholesale. So all I did was researched it again. Driving down the street, took a wrong turn, ran up on my building that I was in before for K-Max Wigs. Called, I went next door, and I was like, y'all know who owns this building? They gave me the number. The guy came down, and he said, it's yours. And I said, oh, thank you. Called my husband. I said, hey, I have a building. I need some money and some products.
Right.
And he said, okay, let's do it. He's always been behind me. And this is something I never knew I could do, but I can see it. I'm like, I can do this. It's the hardest thing. I tell people that want to do business, they're like, Keisha, how do you do it? It's like, it's not hard to run a business. It is, but it's not. The hardest thing for me was the money part. If you have money or the funds.